That's what we heard, particularly from Richard Marks earlier today, discounting the testimony of Catherine Arnold.
Boy, the problem is when you have experts, they have to be able to comment on the other side's experts to rebut the testimony. Here, because Amber Heard had a counterclaim, she was also proving it in her presentation. Therefore, the first day I think of this testimony today is Johnny Depp disproving the counterclaim or disproving the damages through an expert. Tomorrow will be likely more disproving Johnny Depp's facts that or Amber Heard's facts that she went forward. But no, it happens in every single case. What you can't have is one witness commenting on another witness who's not an expert. That would be improper.
Nobody's making friends here at this trial. You know, that's the truth. Everybody's going after each other, but it's the way it has to work in these cases. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll get to more of your questions.
All right. How's everybody doing? How was lunch? Everybody get a nice little break? You guys hear me all right? So we just have a few more minutes before everything kicks back on, probably about 5-7 minutes. Something that was mentioned during the lunch break, as you guys just saw, Long Crime does their own little thing. They just keep their show running. That I didn't even think about. If they delay and make Amber Heard's team run out of time before they ever bother to bring Johnny Depp back up onto the stand, they can bring Johnny Depp back up as the final witness on Thursday and possibly make it to where there's no chance for redirect or rebuttal from Amber Heard's team, which will be a huge win for Johnny Depp's team if that is their game plan, because the last thing that's going to be in the jury's mind is whatever Johnny Depp testifies to, without the ability for anybody to argue it. Detrimental. What did I eat? I had coffee beans. I had coffee beans. All right, so give me just a second. So for those of you that are just coming back, if you weren't here earlier this morning, what you guys kind of missed, yeah, that could be an amazing game plan. For anybody that missed anything from this morning, you did miss out on a really good set of testimonies, which I believe they're going to continue. They're either going to continue with the witnesses on the prosecution side, or they might just start with redirect from the defense side on the current witness. But 4 amazing witnesses, all experts in their fields, all with actual hands-on experience, not only with Mr. Depp, but with what they do in their field, just destroying the testimonies of pretty much everybody that testified yesterday on behalf of Amber Heard's team, making the entire it's 5 hours of testimony that Amber's Heard team used up on their side yesterday worthless. It made everything that they had people come in and testify yesterday just a huge waste of time. And so I am excited to see how much more of this is going to continue to happen.
All right, welcome back to Live Fairfax County, Virginia.
If you guys ever want to check something out, you can check the Law and Crime channel
Defamation Trial. They're going to be back from lunch pretty shortly as soon as they go back live. And
during the lunch breaks, because they come in here and they analyze, and they have other lawyers and everything
right now on YouTube,
they answer people's questions on YouTube,
Twitter, any which way you can send your questions.
Gives a lot of good insight to
we'll answer them in the next 10-15 minutes or so. I'm here with Gene Rossi, Rich Schoenstein, Linda Kinney-Bodden, and Jeanette Levy.
It's helpful. Before we go to our next batch of clips, I do want to play something that happened yesterday. A lot of people were talking about it. The testimony of Dr. David Spiegel, a psychiatrist who testified that, in his opinion, Johnny Depp exhibited behaviors of somebody who had a substance abuse disorder, and also somebody who exhibited traits of being a perpetrator of intimate partner violence. Well, there was one point that he mentioned something about eating gummy bears, and it was a little strange. Oh, God, yeah.
Give the record evidence of Mr. Depp's
and of course, this is going to be Elaine's line of questioning
that you know of.
Yes. Am I allowed to elaborate?
Yes, just a little different than what you said before.
And for somebody that was an expert witness multiple times, based on what he said, he doesn't know much about how the courtroom works.
If one does, so I'll make it more direct. So if you're not agreeing with what Mr. Depp
this makes it better to watch.
You are no longer useful. Okay, therefore you don't really care about others for others. You care about others for your benefit. So often on dismissing Dr. Kipper, for Dr. Kipper setting some boundaries on.
I cannot wait. I hope they bring the other psychiatrist back in.
Is an example of.
I want them to bring Dr. Curry back.
Other people have to say.
This guy was just a lunatic.
All right.
This guy is a narcissistic,
one of the characteristics that you cited was envious. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
What is the record evidence that Mr. Depp exhibits envy?
I think jealousy is a good start for that. I think that.
I love that he says jealousy.
To have
jealousy.
A career. Start with
Mr.
that
Depp is
beyond
jealous,
what
man.
she has, and the jealousy parts of with Mr. Franco and I think others.
And by the way, it is on record that Johnny Depp does not like James
about things about jealousy. So I think it's pretty apparent.
Okay. And the next one you listed was fragile self-esteem. Do you recall that?
Yeah.
And what is the record evidence of Mr. Depp exhibiting that?
So how can you be a narcissist with fragile self-esteem is my question.
But it's not necessarily the criteria for narcissism. So it's a trait. And basically
fragile self-esteem is not a trait of narcissism, by the way.
Combination of poor self-control
overinflated
and
sense
rapid
of self-esteem is a trait of narcissism.
Is fragile self-esteem, fragile personality. So traits. So it go in the line of cluster B rather than per se narcissistic.
All right. Now we've seen Mr. Depp during
I love that he keeps talking about cluster B, which is exactly what Dr. Curry
what, if any,
said.
Evidence would that suggest that
Amber
he has narcissistic traits?
Objection, Your Honor. No foundation.
I'll sustain the objection.
Way to call him out. Way to call him out right there. We'll get to Dr. Spiegel in a second. Rich, I do want to throw this question to you because it's actually really important. We see it in a lot of different trials, and people have asked about this before. So this is from one of our Twitch fans. That tingly feeling, I don't know if that's about love or something else. We'll leave it right there. Does each lawyer, Rich, have expertise in specific areas of law? They're always changing lawyers to ask questions to different witnesses. Why is this?
Okay, well, I don't think it's expertise, it's different expertise in the law. I think they pick the lawyers. I mean, first of all, one lawyer couldn't cover all of these witnesses for 6 weeks. That would be a preposterous amount of work.
I know exactly why they chose Camille, because Camille is a young, attractive, type A personality, which was the
people
perfect
who are sort of prim and proper. They get the expert witnesses.
You know that Amber Heard
obviously, they picked a very good person to cross-examine Amber Heard. You just try to match it up correctly so you have the right person asking the questions to the right witness. I don't think the area of law is that critical in deciding that.
You know, and Jeanette, people I saw mostly were critical of Dr. Spiegel. So we have Jordan McIntyre on YouTube. I found Dr. Spiegel seemed more like a patient than the psychiatrist.
Yes.
His
Yes.
mannerisms
Yes.
and presentation, aside from the testimony itself, sway the jury from his credibility.
Everybody's
So
trying
his
not to
mannerisms
laugh
and
too hard.
presentation, the way he looked down the stand, could that sway the jury and turn him off a little bit? It's a layperson question. I think it's great.
Okay, well, I feel like I can answer this because did you see what I retweeted last night? Somebody put some video together and he was doing this thing with his mouth and he was like, and like Johnny Depp was like somebody put this like amazing video together. It was a little weird. He seemed to have some strange tics and stuff like that. So maybe, you know, the jury is the one, the jury members are the ones that are supposed to like, you know, judge the credibility. They assess the credibility.
This guy cared more about his book being mentioned
seekers in any case
than anything else.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he was an odd duck. He walked by me. I saw him pretty up close when he walked past me. I was thinking about going out in the hall to say hi, but he was with some guy, like a handler or something, and it just seemed like maybe it wasn't the best idea. So maybe we'll reach out to him later via email. But I was just kind of like, not sure that it just didn't seem to
want to get anywhere near that guy
yesterday.
I mean, he had that really odd comment about being pressed about, you know, well, don't other actors use earpieces? You're saying Johnny Depp is so messed up, he needed an earpiece. And Marlon
Isn't he
Brando,
dead?
And he's like, well, isn't Marlon Brando dead? I mean, that's your response. Found it a little off-putting, but I agree with you, Anjanette. Hey, I got a legal question for you, Gene. And this is, you know what? It's this question, and
Dr.
then
Spiegel.
also I'm going to throw it on a second question. First of all, I wanted to, this is from one of our YouTubers, one of the best names, Hedgehog the Fencer. Okay, so let's take that for what it is. Hi, could you please explain what preponderance of the evidence means? But I want you to clarify, because is it preponderance of the evidence here the standard, or is it clear and convincing? Walk us through it.
Okay, I've been told the burden of proof is clear and convincing, but there are 5 burdens of proof.
Oh yeah, he absolutely. He's like Phineas from Phineas and Ferb, the mad scientist from Phineas and Ferb.
90% certainty, not beyond all possible doubt. Clear and convincing, you got to prove something by about 70%. Preponderance.
Bad echo? I don't know why that suddenly started. It wasn't there just a second ago.
Probable cause, only about 40%.
I mean, for me to turn it down any further would be the
grand jury. And then there's this weird thing called
my Twitch was
reasonable
frozen.
Suspicion, the Terry stop.
It could just be that my internet is
25%
losing its mind.
So there are 5 layers of burdens of proof, and this case I think is clear and convincing.
Yes, and we always talk about, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what we're always talking about criminal trials. A little bit of the lesser standard here. All right, so Linda,
you guys still getting a really bad echo?
We have gotten word that the jury is coming in shortly. So let's go to Fang UK from Twitch. So during Dr. Spiegel's testimony yesterday, he claimed that Johnny Depp made an entire movie wasted. He was obviously referencing Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which Johnny Depp in his testimony.
I don't know how else I can fix that, guys, because I mean, if I turn it down anymore, I'm not going to be able to hear anything.
Johnny Depp's team seize upon that?
What if I put it over here? Do you guys still get it really bad?
I think there were so many things for them to seize on that probably was like a little bit of them, right? And anyone who knows would know that movie, Fear and Loathing. That was about Hunter Thompson, right? Who was,
I think it's because this part of their stream is so much louder than the
I guess
courtroom.
it was the 60s here. So, I mean, that's the way he was supposed to look. I mean, I think they didn't seize on it seriously because you had so much. You had a psychiatrist who violated a rule, in my opinion, on diagnosing somebody with neurodeficit disorders when he didn't even realize what the characters were, hadn't seen the movies. He said, nice plug for my
If it seems like it's still a really bad echo, try going out and coming back in, see if that fixes it for you.
What you say is how you say it.
It could also be because these guys are just so much louder than
enough with what they did.
Well, I think that was a very good explanation for that, for a very good question. I will tell you the questions that we got this hour were phenomenal. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Gene and
I mean, I've got echo restriction off.
Rich, phenomenal answers to these questions.
Echo cancellation. I mean, I could.
Getting word the jury's
What if I
coming in.
What if I turn my mic down a little bit? Does that help? She's at work. She seems to be doing all right. Hello, Camille. Oh, here's the other thing. Like, I don't understand all the people that are up in arms thinking, like, trying to make something out of Camille and Johnny Depp's relationship. It's a strictly platonic, professional-based relationship. She's his attorney. She's married. She has kids. She's not going to cheat on her husband with Johnny Depp. She just truly cares
Your next
for her
question.
client.
Mr. Banya, before lunch, we were talking about your opinions
Okay, how
in
are we
response
right
to the
now?
testimony of Mr.
We doing
Schnell.
all right with the
Did
no
you
echo
also
anymore?
analyze the testimony of Ms. Arnold in this case?
Yes, I did.
And are you aware of her opinion that Ms. Heard's career would have followed the same trajectory as that of Jason Momoa, Gal Gadot, Zendaya, Ana de Armas, and Chris Pine, if not for the Waldman statements?
Yes.
Okay.
What's your understanding of Ms. Arnold's basis for her opinion that Ms. Heard's career should have been similar to that of those identified actors?
And you guys can hear me over them.
That
all right.
When producers or her industry is looking to hire talent and actors, that it's important to best understand the public's perception of.
I don't understand. I honestly don't understand this line of questioning to this man because he has no experience. He's got no
what is happening
expert
with
in this field.
the actors
essentially
that
at
are
this point in time
considering
it'd
for
be like
either a
asking me,
movie
what do I
or
feel
even
about it?
an endorsement opportunity with companies. So that was her approach.
And is that the process she followed in providing her analysis of those purportedly comparable actors?
Maybe
No,
because he's
although
because
she
he's an
stated
analyst,
that she went
and
in
he's
and
able to
brought in these
talk about the way that he would go
alleged
about
comparable actors,
getting these numbers,
and without really reasoning behind that.
They're a little louder than me.
Did you conduct an analysis based on your expertise in social media and internet analytics of Ms. Heard compared to the actors to whom Ms. Arnold compares her?
I did.
And what did you find?
How's that? A little bit better?
Ms. Arnold stated that the proper approach is looking at the public perspective, looking into social media, and she did not do that. I felt that was the best approach to do this based on her words. So yes,
she's not single and no kids. She's married with kids.
Best understanding the public perspective of Ms. Heard and the alleged comparable actors using Q scores. Then I also went and did some analysis online and on social media as well.
Can you briefly remind the jury what
She's even got on record saying that.
Yeah, again, Q scores measure how well a celebrity, it could be a cartoon character, it could be a sports person, how well they're known, how well they're liked, and how much they're disliked. And it's an industry standard tool that's used. It's not just focused on the movies that they're in, but it's focused on them as actors, but also what's happening in their personal lives come to play as well.
Oh, please tell me he's done.
So that's how Q scores are typically used.
Please tell me he's done statistical analysis on what her Q scores were prior to the Waldman.
All right, thank you.
Versus after the Waldman. Oh my God, are we getting another approach? Jesus Christ. What are we doing here? Well, at least it was quick.
No objection to the demand.
By the way, as a right-handed person, I
identify
cannot
plaintiffs
possibly imagine what Amber is
1296,
writing at that kind of angle.
for identification and publish to the jury.
Mr. Banya, what point in time do these Q scores represent that are reflected on your demonstrative?
Oh, yes.
So these are the winter 2019 Q scores that are reflected here. And what was important for me is
look at this.
I wanted to find Q scores
Look at this.
that represented Ms. Heard after Aquaman. And remember Aquaman, December of 2018. These Q scores were gathered January and February of 19, but before the Waldman statements.
And what did
So this is before the Waldman statements? She already was, oh my God. This is not
scores, and the higher the number, the better. As you can see,
Q scores. They're talking about this is essentially your scores based on like how well you're known
out of the group of actors here at a 28. But you're going to notice Ms.
what you have on
Heard
IMDb
has the lowest positive Q score. She has a 9. So I find that very interesting that she doesn't appear to fit in as a comparable with these alleged comparable actors. I think
he didn't actually testify,
the average
and he didn't actually react to any
being
videos
scored at that time, which include all the alleged comparable actors here score at an average of 17, and you can see again she is 9, well below that. And then on the right side, you're going to see the negative Q scores.
Yeah, but what's their average if you remove her?
Dislike you.
What's the average if you remove her?
The score is better. You can see Mr. Momoa is over here with the lowest at an 8, but you can see Ms. Heard is over here at a 28, which was quite a difference. A 20-point difference from Mr. Momoa, and also a 10-point difference, from the average of all actors. So she is very, very much little. Her positive score is very low, and her negative score is
so the average
high,
without Heard on the positive Q scores is 22.
Fit in as a comparable as it relates to these alleged
negative
comparable actors.
What opinions did you form based on that Q score analysis?
My opinions as it relates to these Q scores is, Ms. Arnold
is an average of 11.
These actors as allegedly comparable actors.
So she brings both down.
But really,
what you saw was a voiceover. It was
it
just
appears
somebody
that
taking
she's
something
abandoned
else
this
that
approach.
Jason Momoa
I don't
had
think
done.
she's using these comparable actors or these alleged comparable actors anymore.
I felt
she's
that was
more
pretty
relying
obvious.
on her experience, and I agree with that.
Did Ms. Arnold offer a criticism of your use of the Q scores here?
She did, yes.
And what's your understanding of what that criticism is?
Well, what I believe she was saying is that I should have ran Q scores for these allegedly comparable actors after each of their breakout films, which I disagree. First of all, Q scores doesn't work like that. Q scores are available twice a year, so it's not that I could pick a month.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what I was saying
of
yesterday. Q scores only happen it's biannual.
Actors. So I
my
feel
Q score
that,
on IMDb
what was
changes
important
twice
for me,
a year.
and this doesn't always happen when I'm using Q scores. You can get this perfect moment in time, as Ms. Heard said. I'm sorry, but as Ms. Arnold said, that Aquaman was Ms. Heard's breakout moment. So these scores reflect that breakout moment, and they're terrible Q scores.
How would your analysis change if you had used Ms. Arnold's logic with respect to the timing of the Q scores that you looked at?
I mean, if you really think about what
they're just essentially proving that Ms. Arnold has no idea what she's
saying
talking
that
about.
she
And everything
thinks
she's
Q
doing is
scores are the
speculative,
highest
based on her
for
own
each
opinions
actor
and what
right
she
after
thinks,
their breakout moment. So
or
I
how
would
she
think, if
thinks
anything,
that it works.
These Q scores could have been a bit lower because it's not right after their breakout moment. But what's important for me is the fact that these scores reflect, who Amber Heard was at the time before the Waldman statements, but after the Aquaman release.
We can take that one down, Tom. Thank you. What other work have you done in connection with forming your opinions in this case?
Again,
essentially, he
taking
just said
advice
nobody
from
liked
Ms.
Amber
Arnold,
anyway.
It's important. She says the industry looks into social media, what their followings are like, with the numbers as it relates to their followers.
Not disagreeing.
Again, what is the public perception of them? So I analyzed.
Oh God, here we go.
Social media.
God, I love this guy.
But prior to
this guy is just destroying her.
And how did you do that?
Fantasy
so what I
reputation
did,
that
I
they
don't know
tried
if
to
you're all
build up for
familiar
her this
with the
entire time.
archive.org. They have a tool called the Wayback Machine. What archive.org does is it archives the internet. So you can go back in time to see what websites and web pages
This guy really knows what he's doing.
In the past. Not all the time can you actually get celebrities' social media accounts to have been archived, but we were fortunate that each of the alleged comparable actors'
You enjoyed her role in Zombieland, when she got double tapped.
Archive.org, so I was able to go back.
Most realistic, her being a psychotic zombie is the most accurate role that she could play.
Activity was for each of the alleged comparable actors.
Mr. Banya, did you prepare a demonstrative that reflects your social media analysis?
Dr. Spiegel.
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's get an approach. She's just going up to approach the judge to give her documents so she can look through what she's getting ready to go over.
No objection to the demonstration.
I don't think she's drawing anything. I think she's
purposes,
writing her last will and testament. She's
1297
getting murdered right now.
Anya, could you tell the jury what you found when you looked at the social media?
And so what I found, again, this is prior to the Waldman statements. First thing you're going to notice here is not all actors use social media. You're going to see Mr. Pine doesn't have Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and Momoa and DeArmas don't use Facebook or Twitter. But what's important to look at is you have Ms. Heard prior to the Waldman statements with 3.8 Instagram followers and 142,000.
Like the only thing that you could say that she is comparable to
you move down to
is she has more Instagram followers than
with
DeArmas.
37 million Instagram followers compared to her 3.8 million, and the 2.3 million Twitter followers compared to Ms. Heard's 142,000, and you can then even go down to Zendaya with 65.9 million and 17.2 million Twitter followers. What this is telling me is really, more people are interested in Ms. Godot and Zendaya and even Mr. Momoa than Ms. Heard on social media. It just tells me a lot of people are interested in these actors as opposed to Ms. Heard, more of a following. Q scores well liked.
Never bring in a statistical nerd that you're not prepared for.
Of determining
I love
whether
this
or not
guy.
these alleged comparable actors are actually comparable.
So what they're doing is they're
Based on your
saying that
expertise, what are your overall opinions about Ms. Arnold's analysis of the so-called comparable actors?
they're essentially
Yes, again,
rebutting
it
Ms.
appears that
Arnold
she's
from
abandoned this
yesterday, the
approach,
last
but
witness
and
of
I
the day.
agree with that. I feel that through the Q score analysis and the social media
And she
analysis,
brought up these
that they're
Q
just
scores
not
and
comparable.
that the Waldman
And we can take that one down.
tweets, the 3 Waldman tweets.
Mr.
is
Banya,
what was
based on
detrimental
all the
to her
analysis
not
you did
getting
in this
more work.
case, what are your overall opinions?
But
Yes,
he's
my
showing
overall
that she already
opinions
wasn't
are
like
that
before that.
Mr. Schnell failed to prove any causal connection with the Waldman statements and the search or the hashtag activity, those spikes as it relates to Twitter.
What's up, Fishy?
There's no causal connection there. My second opinion is, based on my social media and Q score analysis, Ms. Arnold's alleged comparable actors are not comparable.
Not comparable.
And then third, Ms. Arnold and Mr. Schnell both failed to prove any causation as it relates to the Waldman statements causing economic harm to Ms. Heard. So, as a damages expert, which Ms. Arnold is, you need to take into consideration causation before you can calculate damages. You look at damages and you look at this allegedly damaging event, and not only do you have to prove that 100% of the damages because of these Waldman statements, she didn't even consider COVID. It happened at the same time. A lot of actors probably made a lot less money because of COVID. Maybe films didn't get made. And, when you
look at Top Gun.
do an analysis of
Look at Top Gun.
you prove causation.
That got delayed
You also
2 years
look at
because of
everything
COVID.
else that might have caused this alleged economic harm. And she didn't look into any of that. She didn't even know what causation was. So I don't think damages is an appropriate approach in this case.
No further questions, Your Honor. All right.
Oh, this guy is just statistical gold. This guy is the most detrimental person to Amber's $100 million countersuit. That
You're not a damages expert, correct?
I am a damages expert, but not providing any quantitative damages opinions in this case.
In this case, okay. And is it your testimony that only if a person repeats the Waldman Depp statements could they be related to the defamation?
What?
Say that one more time?
Yeah.
Are you saying that a person literally has to repeat the Waldman Depp statements in a tweet for them to be related to the defamation?
No, you guys said that.
No, if you looked at my analysis, I did pick the 3 themes as it relates to the tweets, and I analyzed those themes, and I came up with 5 examples of when those themes were used.
And you ran searches for, quote, abuse hoax, sexual violence hoax, and fake sexual violence, and you ran all those in quotes, correct?
I did.
So only if a person used a tweet with those words in that order and with that spacing would they hit on your searches, correct?
Objection, compound.
Yeah, that's compound.
Yeah, so I used
That's
them in
exactly
quotes
what they were trying to
because,
say
you know,
early on, Fishy.
Hoax could be used in many other contexts, so I wanted to make sure I was fitting my search with the theme of the Waldman statement.
Yeah, I can't believe they're going to even attempt to question this guy like he wasn't thorough.
That wouldn't appear in your searches, correct? Faked with an ED.
It would not.
Okay. And if they use 2 spaces between abuse and hoax, that wouldn't fit in your search.
That's correct.
Okay.
I don't think that's Rottenborn.
And a tweet can only be 280 characters, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So certain of the Waldman Depp statements, a person could not tweet the whole thing in one tweet, correct? The whole statement in one tweet.
Sure they could.
The Waldman statements?
Correct.
No, you could not tweet that in those.
I mean, not all 3 of them.
Did you make any determination if there was an online bullying campaign against Mr. Depp after Ms. Heard's op-ed?
I didn't look into any online bullying campaign for Ms. Heard nor Mr. Depp.
Did you determine if there were tweets harassing Mr. Depp that quoted from Ms. Heard's op-ed?
No,
my assignment was to determine if the Waldman statements were part of the tweets that Mr. Schnell provided. I was rebutting him.
And in your analysis of when you testified before, you never looked to see if the op-ed was quoted anywhere, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yeah. Yeah. They're trying to discredit this guy for not being thorough.
All right, questions withdrawn. Next question.
That's what kills me. They're trying to discredit this guy on not being thorough. Are you kidding me?
You have no objection to Ms.
failing
Arnold's use of comparables, correct? Just the use of comparables in general.
I listened to her testimony and my understanding that she abandoned that approach. But as it relates to my testimony today, my opinion was related to those specific alleged comparable actors, that they were not comparable.
You're not offering an opinion as to who the appropriate comparables should be to Ms. Heard, correct?
No.
Correct.
Okay.
No, he can only base it on the comparisons that were already given.
You testified just before about the Q scores of Ms. Heard and the comparables. That was plaintiff's exhibit 1296, correct?
I don't know what
he's just like
1296 means.
What?
Okay. The demonstrative in front of you.
Mine? Yes, that's correct.
And you said that those were all for the winter of 2019?
I said Ms. Heard's were from the winter of 2019.
Because isn't it true that none of the rest of these people were from the winter of 2019, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. In fact, Mr. Momoa's was from the summer of 2020?
That's correct. Not all alleged comparable actors had Q scores for that date. What was important for me is to get Ms. Heard's Q scores right after Aquaman, but before the Waldman statements.
So you weren't comparing apples to apples, correct?
I wouldn't say that. I'm saying that it's not the exact same years. That's correct.
So that would be starting. So the field work would be starting almost immediately after Aquaman.
I don't know what just happened there. It looks like my internet.
Yeah, in her Star is Born moment, yes.
If my internet does go down, you guys, I will definitely read my right back. So.
would have more time to account for the rise in popularity of the film Aquaman, correct?
Well, actually, if I use Ms. Arnold's suggestion, the celebrities tend to have, the celebrity moment right after they have their breakout film. So I disagree with that. I think maybe his Q scores could be lower as it relates to when I use them.
You'd agree that for the winter of 2020, Mr. Momoa's Q score would have more time to account for the rise in popularity of the film Aquaman?
I don't know if it accounts for the rise of popularity. Again, using Ms. Arnold's words, usually a Q score will be the highest right after the film, like I did.
But we also have really bad weather here, so.
All right. Do you show? All right. Thank you.
No, baby. Go lay down. Go lay down, you sad looking dog. All right, what do we got going on here?
If you look on page 177 of your deposition transcript, you see that?
I don't see a page. Is that what you handed me?
No, they won't.
You don't see page 177? At the 4 pages per.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And I asked you
Stop.
at lines 6 through 10, you'd agree that for the winter of 2020, Jason Momoa's Q score would have more time to account for the rise of popularity in the film Aquaman, and you answered yes.
At that time, as I am a rebuttal expert to Ms. Arnold, based on her testimony, I've learned something new from her.
Yep, exactly.
You didn't look at Ms. Heard's Q score for summer of 2020, correct?
She doesn't have any.
She doesn't have
Depp Armis had a lower familiarity score than Ms. Heard, correct?
If I don't have that in front of me, but if you're saying that, yes.
Okay. And Ms. Darmis's career trajectory has gone up since the summer of 2020, correct?
No.
I don't know. I didn't analyze
her
career trajectory.
It has not.
Okay. Could you put up Planet's trial exhibit 1297? That was the demonstrative.
I would have no idea which one is that.
Has less Instagram followers than Ms. Heard, correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Heard has more than double the Instagram followers.
Give me a moment, everybody. I'll be right back.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And isn't it true that you get more social media followers the longer you're on social media?
Not necessarily. It doesn't work that way. It depends on many other factors.
And so Ms. Armis had a lower familiarity score and less Instagram followers, yet your testimony is that she would not be a proper comparable to Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
Okay. And you're not offering a different set of people who should be comparables, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. You can take that down. Now, you understand that Mr. Waldman has been banned from Twitter for life for harassing Amber Heard, correct?
I don't know that, but if that's the case.
And you understand that Mr. Waldman appealed the decision to Twitter and they have confirmed his ban for life?
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Okay.
Okay, sure.
No, we are approaching. I came back at the exact right time. I don't know what they're trying to prove with this guy. Are they trying to say that what he's said so far doesn't count towards anything? Because, well, Momoa, you're showing Momoa, are they seriously, okay, listen, based on this guy's questions, are they seriously trying to say that she has the ability to have been more popular with a higher?
You agree that in looking at Mr.
Jason
Schnell's data,
Momoa?
65% of the uses of negative hashtags relating to Ms. Heard occurred between April 1st, 2020 and June 15th, 2021, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you would agree that 5 of the 6 highest spikes of the negative hashtags were after the Depp Waldman statements, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And where you talked about the February 2020 spike, And the 65%, by the way, even includes the February 2020 spike of tweets, correct?
That's correct. Well, there was no spike in Feb 2020 during the Waldman statements.
Well,
there was no spike. It was a decline.
The spike in February 2020 was before the Waldman statements, right?
I would have you. Can we pull up the chart again if you want to talk about the spikes?
Sure. Can you put up 1294? Number one.
Yeah, that spike happened before the Waldman statements.
Okay. And there was hardly any activity.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew once Amber Heard's people came up.
Correct?
That's correct.
Damn it.
And you understand that the spike in February 2020 was related to the partial tape that Mr. Waldman and Mr. Depp leaked to the Daily Mail, right?
I'm aware that the articles were related to Heard admitting to hitting Depp.
And you understand that Mr. Waldman testified that Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman met with the Daily Mail in person to provide the partial tape to the Daily Mail.
Objection, Your Honor.
She's talking about,
what
the number one related to.
What's the objection?
Sorry, lack of foundation, and
I'm asking if you know, if he knows or he doesn't.
All right, overruled.
So what's important to me is the fact that this spike is prior to the Waldman statements.
Do you know if Mr. Waldman testified that
he's
Mr.
doing
Depp
as much as he can to make sure
the Daily
that
Mail in person to provide the partial
witnesses
tape
don't waste time.
No.
in February of 2020? You don't know one way or the
It's
other.
irrelevant to my opinion.
Okay. And the spike in July of 2020 came right after the last defamatory statement by Mr. Depp and Mr. Waldman, correct?
The July spike, which is number 2, is not related to the Waldman statements, and there are articles related to abuse between Heard and Depp and feces found in Depp's bed.
And that's based on Google searches you did?
That's correct.
Okay. And the July spike in time came after the June 27th.
Well, this trial came after the Waldman statements. If we're gonna go that generalized,
okay,
something happen
of the 6
in
spikes
any
came
point in time after that,
the defamatory
and we're gonna just relate it to that? Well,
After
the trial
the
is
Waldman
a
statements,
direct
yes.
result of the Waldman statements.
Now,
Is that what we're
you
gonna say?
testified before that you eliminated shares and likes of the Depp Waldman statements from your analysis, right?
Repeat that, please.
Did you say that you eliminated shares and likes of tweets that included the Depp Waldman statements?
That's correct. When I was doing my analysis, I noticed the exact same text was a part of many of these tweets.
Don't shares and likes disseminate the negative information?
That's quite possible.
Okay. And you agree, right, that
They're trying so hard.
use of the term Waldman or
Poorly,
Waldmanian occurred over
but
25% of
they're
the
trying.
time in the negative tweets toward Ms. Heard from April 2020 through January 2021, correct?
Although it's irrelevant to this case, it has nothing to do with the Waldman statements. That's what Mr. Schnell says.
You don't disagree with the search results, correct?
Although has nothing to do with this case or the Waldman statements, I do not disagree.
So if people are tweeting about Adam Waldman or Waldman,
Are you serious? What does it matter how popular you are as in the acting community?
It's your testimony.
The higher your
nothing
popularity,
to do
the
with this
higher
case.
your fame, the better.
The
chances
hashtags
you're
have nothing to do with this
larger
case.
roles because you're a bigger draw.
That's what you're saying.
You're going to be active.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And even if they include the negative hashtags with Mr. Waldman's name and Waldmanian, you're saying they have nothing to do with the defamatory statements.
All 4 hashtags that Snell used had nothing to do with the Waldman statements.
Yeah.
Waldman himself has nothing to do with the Waldman statements. We're talking about the Waldman statements here. Waldmanian, I don't even know what that is, but again, it has nothing to do with this case, and it's not related to the Waldman statements.
I love this
That's
guy.
what's important.
God, I
And the
love
reason
this
you're
guy.
saying they're not related to the Waldman statements is because someone didn't literally copy what Adam Waldman said in the Daily Mail and tweet it out.
Well, I looked at enough.
Wouldn't that make
tweets
sense?
included
Aren't they
the
saying
name
that Waldman
have
statements
nothing to do
themselves
with anything negative
is the
or
whole reason
Waldman's?
why
No, they
she
must,
didn't
have,
work?
they must have had to have the negative
So, yeah,
hashtags.
you wanted
for
to have the
Ms.
Waldman
Heard,
statement
because
in
the
there
only
to
way that
prove
those
that
would have
his
been in the
direct
data you looked at
statement is
would have
what's
had the
being
negative
pushed out.
hashtags towards Ms. Heard. He wasn't looking. It was looking at that universe, correct?
Well, first of all, I don't agree that justice for Johnny Depp is a negative hashtag towards Amber Heard. So listen, the assignment was to
just
determine
because something's positive for Johnny doesn't mean it's negative for Amber.
Were related or included the Waldman statements.
In your review of the tweets related to Ms. Heard, you cannot point to any that were positive toward Ms. Heard, correct?
Again, I was not looking for that.
And you did not review the hashtag Justice for Johnny Depp during the time frame from April 1st, 2020 to January 1st, 2020 to see if there were any that were not negative toward Ms. Heard.
I did not look into anything as it relates to anything other than what relates to the Waldman statements. That's what's at issue here today as we sit in court.
Jesus.
And you didn't form any statistical analysis.
Keep wasting your time, guys. Keep wasting your time. You're not going to discredit this guy.
Correct.
They're trying to discredit his testimony. It's not going to
other
work.
than the Waldman statements affected Ms. Heard's career, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Looking at
keep going, bro. Keep going.
exhibit
Waste all that
that's in
time.
front of you,
Give
where you have the
Johnny the
numbers
stand on
here,
Thursday with no chance
those
for
you said are
rebuttal.
related to
Do it. I dare
Google
you.
searches?
The 1 through 6?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And can we put up plaintiff's 888?
Come on. What do we got? His entire job was to be there to look up
And we can
into the
start at one.
Waldman
Do you
statements because
understand that
that's the argument is that Waldman statements is what has destroyed Amber's career. And he's proving none of the major, the 4 top
888, it's page
hashtags that he said
76. These
destroyed Amber's
are
career
the
based on the
documents you
Waldman
relied
statements.
upon for your opinion
He's
today?
showing that none of them have any relevancy to the Waldman statements.
Yes.
And are these the search?
By the way,
it has
guys,
the different letters.
don't forget to stay
These are the searches
all the way through when the judge
that
is
you
talking
ran
to
for the
everybody at the end
various
because
time
she's going to tell you
frames
how much
and
time
the articles that came up
each
for
team has
numbers
left.
1 through 6, correct?
No, I mean, obviously document 1A is the Heard supplemental expert witness disclosure. These are documents that I used throughout the time I've been working on this project. So these aren't related to those 1 through 6 numbers.
Yeah, the defense
Okay.
keeps bringing up
These
the
are
graphs.
documents you relied upon for your opinion today?
These are documents that I relied upon when I presented my designation.
For your opinion today, that you're offering today?
Yeah, these are the documents that, yes, I've relied on throughout this case.
Okay. And
Well, if I
actually,
turn me
Michelle,
up any, then
turn in this
you guys are going to complain that there's an
designation
echo. So hold on.
to,
There, that's the best I can do.
let's see. Hold on one second.
I can try turning down this slightly.
Can you just scroll down?
The problem is that I'm going to have a hard time hearing it.
Keep
then.
scrolling. Just keep going.
Good Lord, Pig. What are you doing?
Keep going.
Pig, you're causing an earthquake in my stream.
Okay, stop. This was the chart you provided with your designation.
No, there's no
for your
appellate
opinions in
court
this
for
case,
civil
correct?
trials, Teresa.
Yes.
Okay, and it's similar to the chart that we had before with the 1 through 6, correct?
That's correct.
And where it has the various boxes,
They definitely can't
It's
appeal
talking about
because
documents
they were told at the
6E
beginning,
through 6H,
the
for
quarter way
instance,
through,
related to
the
Depp wanting
midpoint,
to have her
3/4 the
replaced
way
on
through,
Aquaman.
how much time they have, and that
Yes.
the judge reiterated
And
each
you
time.
prepared this
When you're
chart,
done,
correct?
you're done. That's all the
Yeah, this
time
was
you're
part of my
being given.
designation.
I'd like to have
And
this
she tells them,
page,
be very
as a
careful with your
demonstrative.
time because when it's over, it's
Your Honor, I do
over
have an
regardless.
objection, if I might be heard.
All right, if you want to come forward, page 99.
This guy is cool as a fucking cucumber. Like he's just like if this was Dr. Spiegel right now being cross-examined, he would be losing his shit, feeling like he's being attacked, that his work is being questioned. This guy is amazing. This guy is on it. He's the consummate professional. He is just unwavering in his demeanor. He's not letting these questions get to him. He stands by his statistical data. He keeps repeating, this is exactly what I was brought here for, was this specific instance. You're asking me things outside of the scope of what I was asked to come and do. And they're doing that. They're mentioning things outside of this scope because they want to prove that he's being biased in his research by not looking up, negative effects towards Amber or whatever, when in all actuality, that's exactly what he was looking for. He was looking for these 4 major hashtags that were being used on social media, across social media, that they said were a direct result of the Waldman statements, and said that these 4 hashtags include the Waldman statements, and that these 4 hashtags and the Waldman statements combined destroyed her career. And there is no evidence of that. There is no correlating evidence to that whatsoever. Oh, Kate, I certainly hope you sent a link to his portion of the trial, because she's going to be like, this guy's a whack job. You got to wonder, the doctor needs a doctor, right? Like Dr. Spiegel needs a psychiatrist. There's no doubt about that. That man's, he's out of his gourd. Do I have to answer that? Oh, okay. Isn't he dead? Like, what? I have yet to see a single person presented by Johnny Depp's team. I have yet to see a single person that's been presented as a witness from Johnny Depp's team not be what I would consider a literal consummate professional during this trial. Not one time. Every single one of them just. Yeah, Johnny Depp currently, I mean, he still does. I mean, he's got an independent film that's supposed to be launching at Sundance at the end of this month. But his career essentially was submarined by her statement, by the op-ed statement. I love this guy. I absolutely love this guy. So just to let you guys all know, they've essentially wasted easily 30 minutes questioning this guy already.
Other than
shuffling through papers. Go ahead, man. Just let that time burn. Just let it burn.
So as I understand it,
you want to organize the bastard?
The way you determined that the tweets were not related to the Waldman statements was that you looked at time and then you ran certain Google searches, correct?
Correct.
And then the top 3 hits came up.
Correct.
And then you looked through the article to see if the Waldman statements were there?
So as it relates to any trending event, any defamation that's happened online, any allegations of
course I'm on Johnny's
economic
side.
loss because
I'm Team Johnny.
Viral, going to Google, looking at the spikes in time and going back in time to see what was happening.
That is a brilliant idea.
Top 3 sites.
That is a brilliant
will give you
idea.
an indication of the best results that were being served at that
I
time.
think Johnny Depp is absolutely a good person. Not good
results.
People
And just for the record,
doesn't
clear, we
mean
can
always
go back
nice
to page
people.
76 of this document.
Everybody's got the chance to have a mean streak in them.
Number
Especially underneath the
6A
influence of alcohol or drugs.
through
I'm no different. I mean,
6N,
I
going to
consider
the next
myself to be
page.
a genuinely
Those
good
are the
person,
headlines of
but
the
you put
searches that
whiskey
you
in me
found.
and
Correct.
let my emotions get the best of me, and I become an asshole.
And you
And I say
don't
some
disagree
horrible
that
shit, but that does not
negative
mean I'm not a
tweets
good
toward
person.
Ms. Heard have continued
Nobody's perfect.
throughout the analysis of the tweets, correct?
The difference is
I'm
Johnny
not
Depp
looking
atones
at
for all of
whether
his
they're negative tweets or those hashtags are
all
negative.
of his negative
I'm
traits
determining
or
if
his negative
those
times.
tweets are
And
related
Amber Heard
to
blames
Walden
everybody else
statements.
for
Okay,
hers.
and you haven't, you have no opinion whether the tweets were positive or negative towards Ms. Heard. That's what you're saying?
Yes, I'm just analyzing whether or not they're related to the Walden statements.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
They're reaching so hard,
Thank you.
and they have no respect.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief recess for you at this point. Hopefully we're 15 minutes to get back.
Okay. I don't.
Not discuss the case.
Do they have another immediate witness or?
Sorry, do not discuss the case and don't do any outside research. Sorry, we'll just take a short break.
Yep. Okay. Taking a short break. So yeah, in my opinion, so Johnny.
Now? Chose now?
Anyway, in my
Right, so
opinion,
just so that we're on
Oh,
the
wait.
same page, you can have a seat. Keep standing the whole time. All right, just so we're on the same page with Mr. Knight's testimony. Actually, could Mr. Knight go back out, please? All right. So we're on the same page with Mr. Knight's testimony. There is a rule on witnesses. However, Mr. Knight's a rebuttal witness. The purpose of excluding witnesses from the courtroom, usually it's a courtroom, is to deprive a later witness of the opportunity to shape testimony to correspond with that of an earlier witness. The issue we have here, obviously, it was a direct witness. In the direct testimony, you had time to do a rule on witnesses, let them know about the rule on witnesses. With a rebuttal witness, it's a little different because they didn't know they were going to be a witness. You didn't know they were going to be a witness. I understand that part. The problem is the courtroom in this particular case appears to be the world. So what we have to do here
this poor
is
woman.
I'm going to do a voir dire, and I'll allow both sides to ask questions as well of Mr. Knight to see what he has seen of the case. And I'm just going to use the factors that the case law in Virginia uses, which the factors to consider, because the court does have broad discretion to prohibit a witness to testify in this particular circumstance. So the factors I'm going to consider is if the impropriety was intentional, which we'll find out, the prejudice attached to it, also if the excluded witness learned about substantive aspects of the case from an earlier testifying witness, and whether that knowledge had any effect on his or her testimony. So those are the three factors I'm going to look at in weighing this decision. So keep that in mind when you do your voir dire. And it's my understanding that the evidence that Mr. Knight will testify only relates to Hicksville. Is that correct? Okay. All right. Now we can have Mr. Knight. Go ahead.
Interesting. Okay. This is how this guy dressed for court as a witness?
All right, sir. Mr. Knight, if you could come forward.
Oh.
To be
Oh,
sworn.
it is him. What the hell? Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to testify truthfully in these?
So this guy has never been on the stand before then. Okay.
Sir, if you could just have a seat, please.
Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on here.
Sir, what we're doing is I'm just going to ask you a few questions outside the presence of the jury. Then the attorneys are going to ask you a few questions, okay? Then I'm going to have you step back outside after that, okay?
No problem.
All right, what's your full name, sir?
Morgan Higby Knight.
My name is
All right, how do you spell your last name?
This guy is definitely new to.
NIGHT.
This guy's
Okay.
definitely new to court.
All right, and sir, before I can allow you to testify, I just want to ask you a few questions. Have you seen any of the trial that's been going on for the past 6 weeks?
Approximately 5 weeks ago, a friend of mine texted me that Hicksville was mentioned, and I watched a little clip where
Okay.
it was mentioned.
Which clip did you watch?
I believe it was somebody testifying about, I think it was the security guard testifying maybe about
Okay,
Hicksville.
so I'm not gonna lie to you. This guy sounds like a fucking nerd.
I forget exactly who was testifying, but it was something where Hicksville was mentioned.
Nerds run the world,
and,
everybody. Just remember that.
It was
all you people that were high school bullies.
Yeah,
those nerds are your bosses
or something like
remember
that.
Shit.
All right. And what did you do after that? At some point, did you get in contact with attorneys?
So I didn't reach out to them. I didn't really care. The innkeepers that worked at Hicksville before reached out to them and said, we saw some stuff that wasn't true. And then they asked, is it okay if I give the attorneys your phone number? So the attorneys reached out to me.
Okay.
I honestly don't know.
When did the attorneys reach out to you?
May 3rd.
May 3rd. And you talked to the attorneys at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Camille, but Geraldine.
Okay. And then have you seen any other parts of the trial?
No, she instructed me not to watch anything about it, regardless of if it was about Hicksville or not. So I've been
since
keeping off the internet and turning off anything.
God, for 5 weeks. I want anybody here
on social media.
I want
Mr. Knight,
I want anybody here to try
an
to
attorney
picture
for Mr.
staying off
Depp
the internet for 5
on
weeks.
May 3rd?
Yes.
Okay.
Outside
And
of
you
military
said it was
deployments or
Carolyn?
something like that.
Geraldine.
Oh, Yerlin.
What the fuck just happened? Where did that
And
skip come from?
What-
I think it's pronounced Geraldine.
Okay, can you tell us the conversation you had with her at that time?
Yeah, she just asked me my recollection of the evening, and I told her, and she said, okay, would you mind testifying? And I said, sure. And she said, okay, well then, we're not sure if we're gonna call you or not, but just in case, please don't watch anything having to do with the case. And I said, I will do.
So wait a minute, is this the defendants calling in this
How is
witness?
it that-
I thought they rested their
To
case.
your best knowledge, how is it that Geraldine was able to get hold of you? How did she know that you knew something?
So, like I said, two of my innkeepers, my innkeeper and my manager had reached out to her team, I think through email, and one of them,
The nerdy guy that became the big
texted me and
strong
said,
dude?
hey, do you mind if we give Geraldine your phone number?
I don't know what this guy's relevance is.
You
I feel like
also
we missed something in that skip.
communicated, on Twitter, did you not, about this case?
Yeah, 2 weeks prior to Geraldine reaching out to me, someone had made a comment about something that happened by the fire pit, and I said, that's not my recollection. I didn't see, that's not what I saw.
So who was it that made a comment about something that happened at the fire pit?
So once I was told about the fact that Hicksville was mentioned, I went and did a Twitter search of Hicksville trailer. So it was, I don't know who it was, but I was just like, what are they saying about Hicksville? And so that was why I did a search.
Oh, they're doing the wait here. Okay.
Weird and fascinating because the night to me wasn't that remarkable in the context of all the different experiences I've had at the trailer palace.
So explain to me, please,
He looks like
what
he
you
runs
mean
the
by
trailer.
you did a trailer search.
So if you go to Twitter and you put in keywords and do a search, all the tweets regarding that subject come up, or anything with those keywords in it. So that is how I found the tweet that I replied to.
Okay. And how many tweets did you find that mentioned Hicksville when you did that trailer search?
Probably like 5 or 6. I only replied to one of them.
Okay. And what do you recall those tweets saying about Hicksville?
The one that I replied to said that there was some incident by the fire pit, and Johnny was yelling at Amber, and I replied that I didn't see that. I was there all night, and I was working that night, so I didn't see anything like that.
Okay, so he works at the trailer park?
So your best recollection on that one was that somebody said somebody was testifying that Johnny was yelling at Amber?
Yeah, and I believe grabbed her or something along those lines.
Do you recall who said Johnny was yelling at Amber and grabbed her?
I have no idea. It was Waldman. So I didn't really pay attention to who was writing it.
All right, and you said that you responded to it. How did you respond to it?
I said that's not what happened. I was there all night. Yeah, basically. I'm paraphrasing. It was.
Did you say anything about what you thought happened?
I just said that didn't happen. I didn't say what. I believe I said maybe something along the lines of, from what I saw, Amber was the one acting jealous, not Johnny.
And you said this to one of the tweets?
Yes.
Do you recall whether that was the Umbrella Man?
I don't recall. That's a ridiculous name, though.
Okay. So tell me about the other 5 tweets that you recall seeing when you ran your trailer search.
I think they were similar in nature, but I don't specifically remember the details of them. That was pretty much the only one I remembered, and that's the only one I replied to.
Yeah, it seems like a last minute. Seems like a last minute witness.
And what was said?
No.
Okay. When you said that somebody told you about a security guard, what was your understanding of what
Trailer
the security
palaces and
guard
mega
said?
pints.
I got a text that somebody in the trial had said that they were talking about Trailer Palace during the trial. And so that's what led me to go on Twitter and do a search.
And did you have any communications with the 2 innkeepers about what you knew or what you thought?
No, I haven't talked to them in years and
So-
still haven't regarding the case.
So how is it that the
I like this guy.
innkeepers then contacted you and said, do you mind if we give you the telephone number to the attorneys?
Because they still have me in their phone, and Christy, who was the manager at the time, is the one that texted me and said, hey, do you mind if we pass this along? Mr. Depp's attorneys want to talk to you.
Do you mind if we pass what along?
I disagree.
Right, but how is it that, what is the communication you had with the innkeepers that even led them to understand that you believed you had knowledge about the Hicksville incident?
There was no conversation. They knew because they were both working that same night. Jenna was the innkeeper and she was there along with me that night. Christy was the one who texted me and she had come in the following morning for her shift. And I slept over. I was live-in innkeeper that night.
There's your next shirt, Bama.
I'm trying to understand. So
The Hershey Trailer
this is
Palace.
based on the fact that 7 years ago, they happened to know that you were working that night.
9 years ago, and it's because I was there with them.
My math, well, it's 2022 right now, and that was what year? Oh, that was
2013.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
So how
Get your
is it
shit
that
together,
out of
Elaine.
the blue, they remembered 9 years ago that you worked there that night and that you might have some knowledge?
I mean, to be honest, like we do get celebrities sometimes, but it was, it's not that unmemorable. It's not like it's any other night of the week. So I'm sure they remembered the specifics of that night.
Had Mr. Depp's attorneys ever attempted to contact you before?
No,
Had you ever attempted to contact Mr. Depp's attorneys before?
no, I have no interest.
All right. Have you had any
I love
conversation
this guy.
with
He's so
Mr. Depp's
neutral.
attorneys other than the one you described with Geraldine?
Since,
Yes.
well, I met with Camille last night.
All right. And what
We'd all like to
was
meet
that
with Camille.
conversation? Please describe.
I just went through, the story again that I had told Geraldine.
And let's hear what that story was.
You
Well,
want me to go through?
no,
the
that
whole
we should
story?
be waiting for
Your
testimony for this story.
Attorney work product.
There's no attorney work product.
No, I'll overrule that.
All right.
That's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
continue.
That I described like them getting to the trailer palace,
Okay, I gotta look up this
me
fucking
showing them
trailer.
around,
Give me a second.
the interactions I had when I was on
I've got it
duty with Mr. Depp and Miss Heard, how the evening progressed throughout the night, the levels of drinking and drug use that I witnessed, what the state of the damaged trailer the next morning, and basically just, the details that I had only, spent total 45 minutes to an hour with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard throughout the entire course of the night. So it was my recollection of those events during that time.
And what did Ms. Vasquez say to you?
Your Honor, this is beyond, we object on the grounds that it's beyond the scope of the voir dire,
No,
which is limited to the
whatever
three
she
criteria.
said to him
But
is
may I
very
please finish
clear.
stating my objection, Your Honor?
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
The objection is that it's beyond the scope of the voir dire. Your Honor enumerated the three criteria which are relevant here. And this is a rebuttal witness, so.
Your Honor, whatever Ms. Vasquez shared with him is going to be very important here because they knew by this time he was going to be a witness. So.
Well, that was
what-
last night. So
Right.
how does that fit into one of the three factors of deciding whether or not he's going to testify?
Well, one of the three factors, Your Honor, may I approach so that the witness doesn't hear?
Okay, that's fine.
Is this trailer park or whatever? Where is this located at? Yeah, let's let Camille cover my lawsuit with that Dr. Nappin type. Yes, Susanna. Oh my God.
Mr. Knight.
California.
Ms.
Okay.
Vasquez provide you with any information that anyone had testified to or said at any point?
No, she didn't talk about anything except for asking me my experience and just getting a clear understanding of what my experience was. She didn't mention anything outside of the scope of what I saw and just asked me for the facts and told me just tell the truth and let me know, you know.
Do you know what any of the witnesses said in this trial?
About, I mean, outside of what I described earlier with the,
This is
a
pretty
friend of
cool.
mine texting that someone was talking about Trailer Palace. I
This
do
place
not.
is awesome.
Do you know whether any of the witnesses testified about any jealousy?
Other than the tweet that I replied to, no.
All right. Thank you. Your Honor, may we?
My question is, does any of this count against their time? Or does their time only count down
Have a seat back
when
outside
the
the
jury
court.
is present?
Thank you.
Can I leave my water?
Yes, you can leave your water.
I think this only, I don't think that this, no, Navy. It's, this is the plaintiff's, this is the prosecution's witness. They're doing their best to ensure that he is not privy to any part of the trial or overly on social media. And him responding to one tweet, I'm sure Elaine's going to be like, no, he knows everything. He knows everything. Get rid of this man. He's detrimental to my case. Why is that? Because, Your Honor, because he looks like somebody that probably subscribes to Angels Only fans. And asks for feet pics. He's the mastermind behind Waldman's tweets. They're all just covering up for this guy. Blessed be that stenographer. Objection! On what grounds? I'm losing this case! Oh, I see Whitney put her hair up. That's helpful. Yeah, pull your skin even tighter, make you look even worse. Ugh, God, I can't stand that woman. Wait a minute, did Whitney change her entire suit? I think Whitney changed her entire outfit during lunch. Amber probably yelled at her, "Why are you wearing light colors?" "I'm not wearing light colors. You need to be matching me. Show solidarity in your sister." Oh, Elaine is trying. You can't tell me that this lawyer doesn't, that this judge doesn't look like she's just had enough of Elaine. The court stenographer, she's like, if I have to fucking type objection hearsay one more goddamn time. So right now I'm looking to see if the DUI guy has been surprisingly silent today. I know he's in court. But I'm trying to figure out. The last thing they posted anything about court was 3 hours ago. To go Homer Simpson on Elaine. Well, I don't know what this guy is going to testify to doing other than saying, I worked there. I was there all night. I was witness to nothing of that sort. Essentially, he's just going to be an eyewitness and a character witness. I hope my chicken's okay outside. Yeah, it cracks me up when the judge has to say, what if any is not a fix to your question? It's still the same question. Oh, like they added her in, like she's just sitting on top of the words. Like she's stoic, dude. She's not moving. She's burning a hole in either one of the jurors or one of the empty chairs by the jurors, because she has not moved her gaze whatsoever. Uh-oh. Oh, what happened? What happened? Let's get back to, don't make me look for another place. Don't make me look for another spot, another place. Ah, damn it.
So
if I got it, I will.
Mr. Knight to testify. If we could get Mr. Knight back in. Now, if I knew you were going to do a sidebar, I wouldn't have made him. Yeah. Just we're going to swear him in again in front of the jury. Okay.
Okay, hold on. We're going to put this one on pause. Well, we're just going to mute it and we'll bring this other one over. I don't know what happened, but we'll watch this one. We'll flip back over to it. We'll see what happens. Hopefully the volume is high enough on this. Meanwhile, I'll refresh the page on the other one here, and we'll see what happens. Come on. Oh, what do we got going on here? It's not my internet.
All right. You seated. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the interruption. You're going to notice as we get closer to the end of the testimony, you're probably going to have some more interruptions, and I apologize for that.
Okay, hold on.
Matters we have to take up. All right. Mr. Knight, if you could come forward to be sworn. All right, your next witness.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this case under penalty of law?
There you go.
Sir, could you have a seat?
Oh, absolutely, Ryan. Absolutely. Why does this one keep, what is the deal? I know it's not my internet. My internet is solid right now. Oh, these guys are killing me. These guys are killing me.
Bud and breakfast different from Hicksville Trailer Palace?
I'm going to turn it up some.
So Hicksville Pines Bud and Breakfast is up in the mountains of Idlewild, which is a beautiful like snow town above Palm Springs. And all the units are A-frames instead of trailers, which we have. It's obviously a very different climate than Joshua Tree, which is a desert area. The rooms, which are themed at both places, are trailers, vintage trailers from the 50s through the 70s at Hicksville Trailer Palace. So there's also different kind of amenities. There's a pool in Joshua Tree. There's a rec room.
Well, it looks like they're working now.
Hicksville Pines.
When did you first become the owner of the Trailer Palace?
Stephen Butcher and on the trailers.
Sorry, guys.
We got done and opened in 2010.
Did there come a time that you sold the Hicksville Trailer Palace?
Yeah, I did at the beginning of 2020. I had some health issues and just
this guy used to own it.
run both at the same time. So I chose Idlewild because it was newer and shinier.
And just for my sake, how long did you own the Trailer Palace?
So 10 years of us being open, 11 years total.
And what was the Hicksville Trailer Palace?
So it started out as a artist retreat. I was a filmmaker at the time and wanted a place to get away and work on film projects outside of Los Angeles. I also put in a recording studio so musicians could record records there. I had lived in New Orleans for 5 years, and there was an amazing recording studio there called Kingsway, where all the musicians would come. They'd live in this big mansion and record their records, and I just thought that was a really neat thing for artists to be able to get away and create create whatever they were working on. Over the course of the build out of all the trailers, themed trailers, which I'm a huge fan of this hotel called Madonna Inn. And so I wanted to do really detailed themed trailers. It became too expensive to just make a living off of an artist retreat. So I decided before I was done to make it a hotel as well.
And what were your job responsibilities, generally speaking, when you owned the Hicksville Trailer Palace?
So I would be live-in manager some nights, a couple nights a week. I would also drive out from Los Angeles twice a week and bring supplies that you can't get out in the Yucca Valley area and Joshua Tree. There's just a lot of things like, Smart and Finals, Costco's and stuff. So I would drive that stuff out. There's also no USPS. So sometimes I'd have to get things shipped to my house and drive them out as well. I would also just do constantly building and creating new stuff at Trailer Palace, whether it's new trailers or amenities. So I would be working on that stuff as well. I'm a big fan of the fact that Disneyland is always making it better and better.
And when you were the live-in manager, does that mean that you spent the night at the Hicksville Trailer Palace?
Yeah, we have a house on site where the recording studio was, and there's a bedroom in there. So whoever is live-in manager those nights stays in the house and basically lives there. There's a kitchen and everything.
Have you ever met the plaintiff in this case, Mr. Depp?
I had met him really briefly at the Viper Room in the late 90s. I had worked with some of the people that performed there and was good friends with Squirrel Robin from the Pussycat Dolls and some other friends in this band, The Imposters. So I was there and I met him once.
How about Miss Heard? ever met her?
I had never met her before. They were guests at the hotel.
When was the first time that you met Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard together?
In late May 2013, when they were guests, Mr. Depp's assistant Nathan had rented out the entire place so they could have a night there in privacy.
What do you recall, if anything, about Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's arrival to the Hicksville Trailer Palace?
Mr. Depp got lost, so his security guard, who arrived early, asked me if I could go fetch them because he had an old car that didn't really fare on the dirt roads out there, which are pretty horrible. So I went out and made sure that they got themselves and the car back to Hicksville safely.
Do you remember approximately at what time that was?
It was 3 to 4 in the afternoon.
What was Mr. Depp's demeanor when they first arrived?
At Trailer Palace, he was super excited about the place, really complimentary, just had a lot of questions and was just seemed like he was in a really great mood.
And how about Ms. Heard's demeanor? Anything stick out?
She was pretty quiet. She just kind of didn't say that much when I was giving them the tour of the grounds.
She's too posh for a place like Hicksville.
And was anyone else with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard when they first arrived?
Are you guys getting an echo again by at all?
Throughout the afternoon. So there was, I think 10 to 12 people total ended up staying. The security guard had gotten there earlier and just to check out the place. But yeah.
And did I understand your testimony previously that the entire trailer park was rented out by Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
Yeah, the whole place slept, I believe at the time, about 25 people, but there was only 10 to 12 in this party.
And who was part of that party besides Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
I'm really horrible with names, but
I
remember one of them was Ms. Heard's sister and the security guard I mentioned before, but I honestly forgot his name too.
We got 32 people in here and only 7 likes on the live. What the
When
hell?
Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard first came onto the property?
You guys hate me, don't you?
So I gave them a tour of, we give all guests a tour of their specific trailer and the grounds and show them around the.
Oh, there's 29
When
likes.
someone rents the whole place, they get another trailer called the bar trailer, which is basically a place to set up their alcohol and stuff. And some people in the group were just putting their beverages in that area.
And where were you when Mr. Depp and
I
Ms.
do my
Heard-
best to reduce the echo, you
Did there come
guys.
a time when Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard went to the bar trailer?
I didn't notice most of the time that my interactions with them, everything's kind of centrally located. So there's a fire pit,
Yeah, there's
bar
30.
trailer and picnic tables all right in the same area. So they were generally around that area the entire evening that I saw them.
And what did you observe of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard as the evening progressed?
So Mr. Depp was super.
It's mainly because I have to listen to it in a speaker and not
super curious and
headphones.
really nice. He was also really interested in my innkeeper because she was a musician, so they would talk about music a lot. At one point, the innkeeper who lived at the next door property went home and grabbed her guitar, and they had sung
Thanks,
a
Jessica.
song or two around the campfire in the early evening. There's another instance where Mr. Depp, the innkeeper, her name is Jenna, and myself were talking about books and music, and Ms. Heard came over and kind of interjected. She seemed a little annoyed that Mr. Depp wasn't spending time with her.
It's because she's a
What about
needy
Ms.
bitch.
Heard's demeanor made you think that she was annoyed?
I think just generally she, it's hard. Like I think, I don't know. It was just like a gut reaction. Like I can't describe it, but you know.
That face. She had that face on right
How long
there.
were you with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard that evening, generally?
So throughout the course of the evening, I was probably mostly with Mr. Depp, but 45 minutes to an hour total. So it was, that's over the whole course until the end of the night after the check-in.
And did you have an opportunity to observe Mr. Depp interact with other people, guests at the property that evening?
Yes. At one point, him, a lot of the time, and with her friend, time.
If you were the evening?
She seemed to be having a really nice time with her friends, and yeah, everyone was.
There come a time in the evening.
I was featured talking about his I want to talk to you and seemed real and they started here on abusive relationship.
Will you please just have an argument?
Sure, asked him to go and just upset at him. I
Conviction?
Almost afraid and like so,
After you get to your house on
yeah. Yes, I did. So when I saw him, he apologized.
Objection, Your Honor.
What if any?
Your Honor, here's.
All right, if you could make that clear.
Have
throughout the rest of the beginning of the night, he was a lot more. Of course, the night went on. He was.
Did you observe any of the guests consuming alcohol?
is in the bar trade. Physically see them or alcohol into their cup.
Alcohol. Anything about Mr. Depp's demeanor that
Yes, as an owner, so I'm here with the like I said, he became more and more quiet. His head would kind of bit back and forth. You know, he was
her
did she was but that's just based on my
Strike it from the record. Please disregard that.
do or take drugs. Did you witness Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
I was inside the house and Mr. Miss Heard were a lot of people had already gone to bed. Everyone went to bed, including myself. And
What time did the evening come to an end?
Almost around 3.
Did you ever see Mr. Depp grab? Did you ever see Mr. Depp?
Sustain.
Depp get angry that
object.
If anything happened the next.
Check out at noon. So around 11 o'clock, one of my innkeepers let me know that there was some damage.
Objection. Hearsay.
Did some Your Honor, I mean, maybe